Tonight on CTV News at 6, teachers vote on a tentative deal. Will ATA members accept the latest government offer? The results live in a few minutes' time.
The level of frustration and anger on the part of teachers is something that I've not witnessed.
Suspicious fire at a home previously searched by police investigating the disappearance of Samuel Bird.
Just comes at an odd time, you know?
And preparing for the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation.
There's a complicated past that we need to learn, acknowledge, so that we don't ever make those mistakes again.
Above average temperatures sticking around all week and a chance of some showers tomorrow.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. We are minutes away from finding out if Alberta teachers have accepted the latest contract offer from the province. If accepted, the teachers lock into a 4-year deal retroactive to September 2024. If not, the union says 51,000 teachers could go on strike 1 week from today. CTV's Brendan Purdy is following the story for us tonight and joins us now. Brendan, what's changed between this offer and the one previously rejected by teachers?
Well, Jeff, I have been furiously refreshing both the Alberta Teachers Association Facebook page and their website, where they said that the vote results could be out by 6 o'clock. Nothing as of yet. What I do know and what I can tell you is not a whole lot has changed from their latest offer to the one that was previously rejected. Now, the biggest change in the province's latest offering to teachers is including free optional COVID vaccinations for educators in our province. That's coupled with a salary bump that will see teachers receive a 12% raise over the 4 years. The 4-year contract also includes hiring an additional 3,000 teachers over 3 years to address class sizes. The potential strike could disrupt classes for over 700,000 students. The former president of the Alberta Teachers Association says he believes that the latest deal will be turned down tonight.
The level of frustration and anger on the part of teachers is something that I've not witnessed in all my time in being involved in teacher negotiations or teacher work.
The ATA's current president, Jason Schilling, is slated to address media with the Memorandum of Agreement vote in just a few minutes around 6:15 this evening. Now, Jeff, of course, will have the live feed of those results very shortly. Jeff?
All right, thank you, Brendan. This is Brendan Purdy live, and we are waiting for that union press conference that will begin soon, and we will go there live as soon as it starts. A gang Edmonton police say could be connected to extortions in the city has now been designated by Ottawa as a terrorist entity. The Bishnoi gang has been connected to arson, extortion, and murder across Canada. Last year, RCMP accused India of using the Bishnoi gang to terrorize Canadians, especially those calling for the creation of a separate sixth state. India has denied the claims. The listing allows authorities to seize property and freeze accounts and means Canadians won't be able to aid or finance the group. The home police searched last week in connection to a missing teenager was gutted by an early morning fire today. Police say that fire is considered suspicious. They've released an image of a vehicle of interest in connection to the fire. It's described as a white cargo-style minivan with what appears to be white window coverings. CTV's Nicole Weisberg reports on the fire and the latest in the search for Samuel Bird.
When I came back up, that's when I saw the flames coming out from the window.
In just a few minutes, Blair Omiasu went from watching TV, smelling smoke, and then seeing fire raging in the attached unit next door.
It was terrifying, yeah.
The fire started around 5 a.m. at this duplex on 106th Avenue and 150th Street. Omiasu says she called 911 and alerted her neighbor upstairs. Then, when fire crews came, they rescued her cat.
I was relieved.
Officials say no one was hurt, though this adds to a series of incidents that makes Omiasu want to move. Last week, police searched this same home in connection to the disappearance of 14-year-old Samuel Bird. EPS is calling this fire suspicious.
Just comes at an odd time, you know?
While this is going on, Samuel Bird's mother says she's laser focused on finding her son. Over the weekend, several large billboards were put up near the community where Samuel was last seen. Alana Bird also says they soon plan to offer a reward to anyone that leads them to his whereabouts.
It's getting to the point now, it's like too long. it's hard. It's hard every day to keep going and stuff, and somebody knows what happens to him. Somebody knows what they did with him.
According to the volunteer search coordinator at the Dawson Park Command Post, searches for Samuel are happening daily.
There's land searches, there's water searches, we have drones involved, cadaver dogs.
Still, this group is seeking more help as winter draws near.
We're just really desperate at this point to find Samuel and bring him home. And we need as much help as we can get.
Nicole Weisberg, CTV News, Edmonton.
And it's now been more than a week since Darius McDougall was last seen on a walk with his siblings. RCMP admit his odds of survival are slim, giving the 6-year-old less than a 5% chance. And that news was shared with McDougall's family on Sunday. RCMP say they analyzed several factors, including what he was wearing when he disappeared, the terrain, the weather, and the amount of time that has passed. Hundreds of people are still looking for Darius, but search and rescue crews admit the time has come to change some of their tactics.
So it will change the use of some of the infrared technologies on the assumption that the infrared technologies won't be picking up any heat signatures on the ground. That's the biggest change right now, is changing from using the infrared to solely cameras to search the ground.
RCMP say Darius was walking with family members last Sunday when he became separated from them near the Alberta-BC boundary in the Crow's Nest Pass. Hope Mission is worried about the impact the Canada Post strike could have on donations ahead of Thanksgiving. The mission is asking people to donate by phone or online to ensure help reaches people in need as the cold weather sets in. The agency says it is dealing with a surging need for food and shelter as it provides more than 3,000 meals a day to people facing hunger and homelessness. You can donate at hopemission.com or by calling 1-855-836-HOPE or in person. Albertans who qualify for free COVID-19 vaccinations can now book an appointment. Healthcare workers, people living in continuing care, seniors' supportive living facilities, and people with underlying medical conditions are among the Albertans who qualify. All other Albertans can book appointments during the second phase of the province's vaccination strategy starting October 20th. Those people will need to pay a $100 fee for the vaccine. Federal NDP leadership candidate Heather McPherson says Canada's energy industry needs to be built in Canada.
You know, what Donald Trump is doing with the tariffs and the impact that has on our economy, we've got to start building things in Canada with Canadian workers, and there's a way to do that builds a future economy, that builds an economy where, you know, Alberta workers, Canadian workers have jobs that are good, strong union jobs, and that is a future-facing economy as well.
The MP for Edmonton Strathcona spoke on Your Morning Edmonton after making her leadership bid official this weekend. When asked about her stance on future pipeline projects, McPherson pointed out there are no actual plans for a pipeline on the table. She says other exciting job-creating projects are on her radar, including a countrywide electricity grid, investments in renewable energy, and transit projects like high-speed rail. Premier Danielle Smith and the Alberta Next panel are set to wrap up their cross-province tour in Calgary tonight. It will be the panel's 10th and final town hall focused on Alberta's relationship with the federal government. It's pitching 6 ideas that could eventually become referendum questions, including creating Alberta's own police force and pension plan. Though initially billed as consultations, the Premier told the most recent town hall in Grand Prairie that the province would likely take action on some topics without a vote.
We've had people saying that it goes too far, some that are saying that it doesn't go far enough, and there's been a fair bit of acrimony at most of the meetings. And I even think an acknowledgement, at least on the part of some panelists, that some of these policies just aren't flying with Alberta. They might make sense to the government and to some of the panelists, but they aren't really landing.
The province also has a telephone town hall scheduled for Wednesday night. A player with the Edmonton Oilers will be back on the ice this week after heading home for a funeral. Vasily Podkolzin flew back to Russia after his father died last week. He'll rejoin the team Wednesday. The Oilers face the Seattle Kraken that night, their 7th of 8 preseason games. Head coach Chris Knobloch says 8 exhibition games is too many. He's looking forward to the preseason being limited to 4 games starting next year.
I think 4, maybe 5 exhibition games would be the best case scenario. I think it just gets you down to your roster quicker. You have a pretty good good idea what your team's going to look like. There's a few extra guys that are trying out and maybe getting into the lineup, but then you can really start working on things.
The Oilers wrap up their preseason with a game in Vancouver against the Canucks on Friday. The city is starting to collect fall yard waste. Crews were out today picking up yard waste in see-through plastic bags and double-ply paper bags. Homes with curbside collection get 2 yard waste days between now and the end of October. The city says people can do a number of things to make collection easier.
Just package everything light as possible. I mean, if you have an abundance of it, just put out a couple more bags than usual. Don't try to stuff it all in one bag, make it heavy. Make the branches 3 feet in length so that when we pick them up to throw in the hopper, it's easy to do.
The city is also reminding people elmwood cannot be mixed with yard waste or placed in carts since Dutch elm disease was confirmed last year. If affected wood is left out, beetles carrying the fungus could spread it to nearby trees. Wood should be burned or brought to the Edmonton Waste Management Centre. The seasonal ban on pruning elm trees lifts Wednesday, October 1st. A popular foraging class in the River Valley has wrapped up for the season. Dozens gathered to learn about the many different kinds of mushrooms that can be found right here in Edmonton. Merrick Takash reports.
Maureen Brown is spending her afternoon in the River Valley looking for wild mushrooms.
I've been seeing mushrooms in the woods when I go hiking, and I've always been fascinated by them. In fact, I got some mushroom books to try and, learn more about mushrooms and just the way they grow and stuff like that. It's always been fascinating to me.
She's part of a class that focuses on how to properly forage for mushrooms.
Our mushroom walk all the time, they are always full booked.
Chef Antonio Tardy has been part of 4 different mushroom walks this summer. He partnered with the Alberta Mycological Society so he can cook the mushrooms and they can do the teaching.
It's a bit like an Easter egg hunt. You're looking for these lovely treasures of the forest or the fields that you can then eat.
Despite searching high and wide, few mushrooms were found on Sunday compared to earlier in the summer. Rob Simpson says that's because the ground has not been getting enough moisture.
We did find some fleshy ones, but they were very old and dried up. And the rest that we found were these woody specimens that grow on dying trees.
On a better day, given the right conditions, the mushrooms the group comes away with can be used in a variety of dishes.
They can make soup, they can make risotto, they can make pasta, they can make salad, they can make cakes, they can make dessert. Yeah.
A fusion of cooking and learning, which plans to return next year. Merrick Takash, CTV News, Edmonton.
All right, cloudy and warm today, Josh.
Yeah, temperatures into the 20s again, which is what we had expected late last week when we were talking Friday. We said we'd probably get one more day in the 20s on Monday. We had temperatures hitting 18 and 17 for daytime highs Saturday, Sunday, and today, 24 degrees. It's 23 in Edmonton right now, 24 to the south at the International Airport, where it was 25 degrees earlier this afternoon. And the wind, we thought it was going to be a little gusty today. It was outside the city, especially off to the south and east of the Edmonton area. But in the city, the wind really wasn't all that strong. 24 degrees puts us 10 degrees warmer than average. 14 now, the average daytime high. Started the day at 11 degrees. I think we'll be in that 10, 11 degree range again tomorrow morning. Take a look at your temperature calendar. 24 today makes this the 26th warmer than average day this month. We will go through the entire month of September without a cooler than average day. The only days that aren't above average, 3 days where temperatures were on par with average. And with temperatures getting into the 20s again today, we extended this record streak. We're now up to 24 days in the 20s. That's the most by far days in the 20s in the month of September. Second place on that list, 2022 with 20 days. You notice how almost all of those days at the top of that list are in the 2020s. The exception, 15 days back in 1937, but everything else has come in more recent history. There's your cloudy skies. No showers in the Edmonton area. We do have some showers, though, off to the north and northwest. We may see some showers push in here mid to late afternoon tomorrow. So temperatures still around 20 degrees at 9 p.m. will drop to about 10 degrees tomorrow morning, and then 18 with the chance of mid to late afternoon showers tomorrow. And it looks like it'll be a fairly mild start to October as well, especially through the back half of this week. Maybe a bit of a change on the way for the weekend. We'll take a closer look at that with your 5- and 10-day forecast in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Josh. A new online project is allowing people across the country to memorialize their loved ones. The idea for the Canadian Healing Quilt began during the pandemic when people were unable to hold funerals and memorial services. Users can create a memorial square on the national quilt and either share it publicly or just among friends and family members. The site's creators say it's a way to honor loved ones without geographical or other limitations.
The sky is really the limit. The platform is really flexible to allow you to add different pictures. You can add memories, you can add stories or poems, and you can also, like I mentioned, invite other people to contribute their photos.
Anyone can create a free account online to access and use the quilt. You can learn more by heading to ctvnewsedmonton.ca and clicking on news links. All right, a tentative agreement between the province and the ATA was voted on by teachers over the weekend. For the results of that vote, let's go live now to ATA headquarters, and Union President Jason Schilling is about to speak.
The Alberta Teachers Association will provide results from the Memorandum of Agreement vote that was held from September 27th to 29th. Once he concludes his statement, he'll answer your questions, starting with those who have joined us here in person today. If you're online and have a question for President Schilling, please use the raise hand function at the bottom of your screen under the React tab. We'll call upon you in the order your hands are raised and ask that you please state your name and outlet before going ahead. Everyone will have the opportunity to ask a question and a follow-up. We'll then take any additional questions if you have them. For assistance following this availability, please reach out to myself. At this point, I'd like to welcome ATA President Jason Schilling and hand it over to him.
Thank you, Heather, and good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. Thank you for being here today. Over the past 3 days, teachers from across the province voted in record numbers on a memorandum of agreement that they overwhelmingly felt did not meet their needs and the needs of their students. My colleagues have spoken. 89.5% have voted to reject the memorandum of agreement. Teachers will be on strike on October 6th. For weeks, this government has tried to suggest that the ATA leadership is out of touch with members and barreling toward a strike that somehow the ATA leadership is preventing a deal from being made. They are wrong. Because the ATA leadership respects and values members' opinions, we went directly to our teachers and asked them. Their response, the resounding and historical no that you have before you today. The proposed agreement failed to meet the needs of teachers, failed to improve student classroom conditions in a concrete and meaningful way, and failed to show teachers the respect they deserve. The undeniable truth is that Alberta spends the least per student on public education than any other province in Canada. Teachers and students feel this every single day. Parents and the public are witness to the fact that this government has chosen to devalue the education of its youth. Kids know this. They even self-organize their own walkout in protest to their learning conditions. So we have teachers, administrators, students, and parents all sounding the alarm on the state of our schools in Alberta. The only ones who don't seem to understand or see the damage that has been done by this chronic underfunding is government itself. They seem to be the ones who are out of touch when it comes to the state of public education in Alberta. It is the government who should be providing the necessities for public education. Teachers have been forced into an inappropriate position to have to bargain for these basics. It's deplorable that teachers should have to bargain for 1,500 educational assistants to support their students. It's deplorable that teachers should have to bargain to see their own numbers increase. Providing adequate numbers of teachers and appropriate student supports is not a luxury to negotiate. It is literally the job of government. And despite their bragging of record spending, the UCP have failed to fund for enrollment and in growth. The government should be embarrassed to suggest that teachers should not expect an improvement of their working conditions and salary improvements. It seems that you can't have both, is what we heard. but both is what is needed to ensure a public education system that is vibrant and serves the needs for all of Alberta's students. And don't get me wrong, this is a mess of their own making. Instead of fixing the problem head-on, we now have oversized classes, growing student complexities that push teachers far past their limits. This government needs to be held accountable. They can no longer ignore it. Teachers deserve to be fairly compensated for the challenging realities and complexities they face in today's classrooms. The government points to a 12% raise over 4 years, claiming it is in line with other public sector agreements. That is misleading. Many other unions received more than just percentage increases, and they had significant salary improvements in the years leading up to their newly negotiated contracts. By contrast, teachers have seen less than 6% in total in over a decade. The government also insists that 12% would make Alberta's teachers the highest paid in Western Canada. This is simply untrue. So let's be clear. The Memorandum of Agreement does little to repair a decade where teachers receive less than what they deserve for their workload increasing. Teachers have been told time and time again, the government will make it right the next time. Well, the next time is here. They are taking action because the crisis in our public education schools can no longer be ignored. To our students and parents, we know that this decision will affect your lives, and we do not take this decision lightly. But you already live with the impact of underfunding, overcrowded classrooms, missing supports, and learning conditions that fall short to what you deserve. We encourage you, parents and students and community members, to get loud and to stay loud. No child of yours should be left without a desk, without the help that they need, or without hope for something better. This is bigger than a contract. Teachers are not just fighting for themselves. They're fighting for every student, every family, and for the very future of public education in this province. And now I'm ready to take questions, Heather. Thank you.
All right, you just watched live ATA President Jason Schilling announcing that he believes there will be a teacher strike on October the 6th. That's next Monday. This is after teachers voted on a tentative agreement put to the union over the weekend. 89.5% of teachers, record numbers, according to the president just now, voted no to reject that agreement. Schilling said that it failed to meet teachers' needs. It didn't address classroom conditions that needed to be improved, and it didn't have the respect that he says teachers deserve. We're going to have much more on this coming up in just a few minutes' time. Well, still ahead on CTV News at 6, the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. Events in advance of a day honoring residential school survivors.
There's a complicated past that we need to learn, acknowledge, so that we don't ever make those mistakes again, and we can move forward in a good way.
To you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Tomorrow is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. It's time to honor First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples and reflect on the legacy of the residential school system. CTV's Gates Guarin has more.
The sounds of drumming, jingle dresses, and Indigenous song filled the theater at Victoria School Monday morning. Students gathering to honor residential school survivors.
There's a complicated past that we need to learn, acknowledge, so that we don't ever make those mistakes again, and we can move forward in a good way.
The importance of the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, not lost on many of these kids, learning about dark parts of Canada's past.
We know what we did is wrong, and we know not to ever do that again.
Others embracing a culture different than their own.
I think it's very special that we get to learn a different language when we are English.
At Nate, a more solemn reflection, a lowering of flags, and a moment of silence for those who never came home from residential schools.
So it's about just taking time to reflect and to honor those people, honor the Indigenous community, and create space for mourning as well, because people have and will continue to grieve and mourn the loss of loved ones.
And from a sea of orange shirts comes a message of hope and love, knowing the next generation of students are taking meaningful steps towards true reconciliation. Gates Gorin, CTV News, Edmonton.
A national crisis line for residential school survivors and their families is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That number is 1-866-925-4419. The St. Albert Curling Club is opening its doors to all kinds of people to ensure everyone gets the chance to curl. This past weekend, it hosted its first inclusive event, changing up the environment to give neurodiverse people a safe place to play. Sasha Pietramala reports.
I was recently diagnosed with autism and ADHD, and curling has done so much for me.
Stones, Sweeps, and Neurodiverse Peeps is a drop-in program designed for neurodivergent people of all ages.
I wanted to give back and show everyone that curling can be a game for anyone, no matter your abilities.
It gives people a chance to try out the sport for the first time.
I've been trying to get Brody interested in some sports, and he loves winter, so I figured that curling would be a perfect introductory for a winter sport for him.
It is my favorite sport.
Nikki Kaufman is the organizer. She says her focus is creating an inclusive environment, which means changing up a few things.
We didn't have to do too many adjustments, just a little bit dimming the lights, making sure there's not a lot of other people around, quieter spaces, a little private room to retreat to if they need a break. We're going to go at a slower pace.
Kaufman would like to expand the program to provide more opportunities for neurodiverse people to curl.
I'm just hoping we can get a lot of people in the door and help them fall in love with curling like I did.
There's a lot more of it popping up, which is really nice, but it's still pretty scarce.
The club will host a second event on October 25th. Sasha Pietramala, CTV News, Edmonton.
Still to come, an abundance of ladybugs in our region.
Hundreds and hundreds. They're all over in the leaf litter.
How the warmer weather plays a role in getting these insects to thrive.
Looks like today will be our last day in the 20s for September. Well, we might be back into the 20s in early October. We'll take a closer look at that in just a few minutes.
Programming brought to you by Century Casino. 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile. Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
We're seeing so many of the insects.
Fall wraps the world in a golden embrace, and beneath this vibrant layer of fallen foliage, ladybugs blending in. And not just one or a few, an abundance of them.
Hundreds and hundreds. They're all over in the leaf litter.
Doug Wong and his wife Lana delighted to find them.
We see them every year, but not in that quantity. I mean, they're crawling up your leg. They're on my cell phone. They're everywhere.
And document the beauty of their ladybug-filled haven. Some barely visible as they scatter out of sight. This one slowly crawls over leaves and navigates uneven terrain. An expert says one of the reasons people are noticing all of the ladybugs is because they are congregating in foliage to find a place to sleep for the winter, which happens every year. But what's different this year is there seems to be more of them due to a hot weather streak that's putting some stress on the plants.
When the plants are stressed, they have a lack of water. When they don't have so much water, they're going to reduce their photosynthesis activity. When they do that, stress plants attracts insects.
One of those insects are aphids. The more aphids, the more ladybugs. But they're harmless.
It's better if you leave them alone because next year they come stronger and they might kill the pests on your backyard.
And at least in this backyard,
We like ladybugs. Yeah, they're wonderful. I think everybody likes them.
a return of the red and black flying insects is welcomed. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
Yeah, we all like ladybugs. Who doesn't like ladybugs?
No, nobody I know.
Or warm weather.
Nobody I want to be friends with anyway. Take a look outside right now. River Valley Skycam is brought to you by Action Furnace. Fixed rider, it's free. 23 degrees. Current temperature after hitting 24 for the high. 10 degrees warmer than average today. And it actually looks like the entire month of September is going to be the warmest in over half a century. We went back through the last 50 years. There's nothing really even all that close. Average daytime high is going to go down at about 24 degrees for September. That's a typical July average daytime high. 22 in Fort McMurray, 14 in Grand Prairie. Did cool off today across the northwest, and eventually we'll see temperatures slip into the mid-teens here in the Edmonton area as well. Lots of cloud cover across the province today, all streaming in from the south-southwest, so it was drawing in some warm air, really warm air across the south, where temperatures were up around 30 for daytime highs today, and it'll stay fairly mild in through east-central parts of the province. Tomorrow, again, it's going to be a little bit cooler to the northwest tomorrow afternoon. Here's your showers right now in through the Peace Country. Nothing for the Edmonton region just yet, but it does look like later in the day tomorrow could see some showers. A little bit more rain tomorrow morning, again in northwestern Alberta. We'll start the day with a mix of sun and cloud, and then after lunchtime through the early to mid-afternoon hours, that would be the best chance at seeing some scattered showers move through. Doesn't look like anything really all that heavy or steady, but scattered showers through the afternoon hours, and then those will push off to the northeast by tomorrow evening, and you'll get some rain tomorrow night across northeastern sections of the province. And that will stick around, it looks like, into Wednesday morning around Fort McMurray. Wednesday here in the city, mix of sun and cloud. There's some showers off to the north and northwest that we might see drop through Wednesday night, but I mean, tomorrow's about a 60% chance of precipitation. It's only a 30% chance for late Wednesday. 20 in Fort McMurray right now. It's 25 in Red Deer, 23 here in Edmonton, still in the mid-20s. Lloydminster, Coronation, but stuck in the mid-teens across the northwest. Daytime high tomorrow should be on par with our 9 p.m. temperature tonight. That's how warm it was today. We'll be around 18, 19 degrees at 9 o'clock. We'll drop to around 10 tomorrow morning. Wind stays pretty light through the next 24 hours, and there's your mid-afternoon shower potential. 20 degrees on Wednesday, so we could start October with a 20-degree day, and we'll be in the high teens, it looks like, Thursday, Friday as well. A little sunnier for Thursday, Friday. Saturday, showers or periods of rain. There's a chance this could be some steadier rain in parts of central and north central Alberta, and temperatures will drop back into the mid-teens, a little closer to average for Saturday, Sunday, mid to high teens for the rest of next week, which is actually 2 or 3 degrees warmer than average.
Thank you, Josh. Turning now to our top story, teachers have taken a resounding stand voting to reject the province's latest contract offer. CTV's Brendan Purdy is following the story for us tonight. He's live in studio. Brendan, walk us through what we know about this so far.
Well, Jeff, how quickly things change as ATA President Jason Schilling opened the ATA's press conference by saying, "My colleagues have spoken and the province's 51,000 teachers will be going on strike October 6th. The vote was a staggering 89.5% against the memorandum of agreement. More than 43,000 teachers in our province cast a ballot over these past 3 days. The strike will disrupt classes for more than 700,000 students. The ATA says, quote, "The overwhelming rejection of the tentative agreement highlights the gap between teachers' lived realities in the classroom and the government's perception of public education in Alberta." We've reached out to the province and we'll have more on this developing story on our website at ctvedmonton.ca and of course tonight at 11:30. Jeff?
All right, Brendan, thank you. It's Brendan Purdy live for us tonight. Still ahead, a financial lifeline for a Canadian steel company amid the tariffs.
I think the critical part of it is it gives us the liquidity to pivot our business towards the future of Canada.
An Ontario steel plant getting $500 million to help stay afloat. Details next.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law. The music of Star Wars with your Edmonton Symphony Orchestra. Learn more at winspearcenter.com.
Canada's last remaining independent steel producer received a financial lifeline today. As CTV's Rachel Aiello reports, it's to help the company survive in the face of punishing U.S. metal tariffs.
The
The federal and provincial governments are loaning this Ontario steel plant $500 million.
I think the critical part of it is it gives us the liquidity to pivot our business towards the future of Canada.
The bulk of the financial support, $400 million, is the first to come from a program Ottawa launched in March to help Canadian companies affected by Trump's tariffs. That money and the other $100 million the government of Ontario is lending is to help Algoma afford new equipment and retrain its workers, as the 50% tariff from the United States has effectively closed off what has for decades been a key market for this and other Canadian steelmakers.
If we don't have Canadian-owned steel companies, then we are vulnerable to the whims of other countries, other markets, and we can't have that.
The steel sector has already seen more than 1,000 layoffs since the trade war started.
The prospect of more is growing every day.
Both the minister and the local MPP framed the loan as an investment in Canadian industry.
We are fighting to protect a company that is truly a Canadian institution.
But the federal Conservatives said they'll be scanning the fine print.
Mark Carney is repeating the same Liberal talking points of the last 10 years, claiming that when he borrows and spends, it is an investment.
A federal official told CTV News today that Algoma is so far the only steel company in Canada to apply for this funding. Its CEO estimated today that it could take 18 months to 2 years for Algoma's plans to pivot to a domestic market to fully materialize. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Coming up, carbon capture in Alberta.
Canada is at the forefront of carbon removal, and we have a really big opportunity to actually be a global leader in carbon removal.
We're learning more about a new carbon capture facility in Innisfail and how it has plans to scale up even more.
Programming brought to you by Southview Acura. For family-owned, award-winning excellence, Southview Acura, where luxury meets reality.
Checking on the markets, the Canadian dollar closed at 71 cents U.S. Oil was down $2.27, closing today at $63.45 a barrel. Gold gained more than $46 on the day. The TSX and Dow Jones both finished the day higher, up 210 points and 68 points, respectively. Carbon capture facility in Innisfail is taking pollution out of the air and sending it underground. Many see carbon capture as a practical way to reduce emissions, and the company behind the plant says this is just the beginning. Kevin Green reports.
The $110 million Deep Sky Alpha project in central Alberta pulls carbon dioxide directly from the air, liquefies it, and prepares it for underground storage.
At the very core of it, direct air capture is basically vacuuming the sky. We're trying to get CO2 molecules from the atmosphere, produce them into CO2 gas that then gets stored underground in a safe and regulated manner.
What makes the Innisfail facility unique is that it operates several direct air capture systems side by side. Companies from around the world wanting to assess their tech under real-world conditions are set up here.
So we are not going to be only looking at one technology of one company. We are going to look across the spectrum at the leading technologies in direct air capture right here in Innisfail, Alberta.
Construction created more than 110 jobs, with 15 permanent workers now running the site. The company's CEO says Alberta's skilled oil and gas workers drew the company to Innisfail.
A lot of what we do ultimately does become gas processing. So what that means is the labor force from the energy sector is actually a natural pool for us to attract folks to work at our facility right here.
Deep Sky envisions 100 large-scale plants nationwide, creating thousands of high-demand green jobs. Petre says that could establish Canada as a global leader in carbon removal.
Canada is at the forefront of carbon removal, and we have a really big opportunity to actually be a global leader in carbon removal.
Right now, Deep Sky Alpha is removing about 3,000 tons of carbon a year. The company plans for scaled-up plants to remove 10 times that. Kevin Green, CTV News, Innisfail.
At least 4 Edmonton Starbucks have shut down as the company closes hundreds of locations across North America. The new Sunwapta location in West Edmonton is one of them. A sign was put up on the door saying it is now closed. 3 other stores are no longer listed in the Starbucks store locator, 99th Street and 34th Ave. The Orchard Richards location and the location on 111th Street and Ellerslie Road. The company says it is closing 1% of North American stores and laying off around 900 non-retail employees. Edmonton hosted dozens of people in different skilled trades over the weekend. Merrick Takash has more from the National Apprenticeship Competition.
Riley Ward is one of 34 people competing in the National Apprenticeship Competition.
I'm from Southern Ontario, a little town called Clinton, like 3,000 people there. I just finished my apprenticeship the end of last year and got my journeyman status in December.
Ward is in the carpentry division. He has a combined 12 hours over 2 days to finish building a playhouse.
How did I get in? Oh, I did a competition in Toronto. So I won the one in Toronto, and then they sent me on to here.
Other trades taking the spotlight at the event include scaffolding, millwrighting, interior systems, and floor covering.
If you take a look at the floor covering, they're able to lay out a stencil of a floor that will show the Euler symbol. Interior systems, it's so impressive how they're able to put up this drywall, put in different shapes, different angles, and just showcasing their skill sets.
More than 200 high school students toured the facilities during the competition.
That's one thing that is very important for us, is to have the high schools come in and do tours to actually see a bit of the projects that are being built, and they'll be able to see what opportunities there are for different trades in the organization or in the world.
Scaffolder Jonathan Thompson believes fewer young people are entering the trades lately. He hopes events like this will help change that.
It's not a ton of schooling. It's not a very difficult thing to learn. It takes a little time, but yeah, main thing is just a good work ethic, and then you'd be good at this job.
Thompson is hoping his loading ramp helps him win top prize. Merrick Takash, CTV News, Edmonton.
We've got another great night of entertainment coming up right here on CTV, starting at 7 with E-Talk.
An Indigenous healing garden is now open at the Misericordia Hospital. Covenant Health says it's a first of its kind at an Edmonton hospital. The healing garden is a gathering place where patients, staff, and visitors can spend time in nature. It includes plants with Indigenous healing properties. A volunteer says this is a necessary step.
I love the fact that we've brought in traditional medicines that we would normally use as Indigenous people, and I know for Indigenous patients, they'll recognize them and feel more at home here.
The healing garden is located behind the emergency room department. It cost $345,000, which was fully funded by personal and corporate donations. Another nice day you could see there outside. Josh, plenty more opportunity for golf coming up for you.
Yeah, mornings are going to start to get a little chillier here as we head through the first week and a half of October. But for the next couple of mornings, it looks pretty good. 10 degrees tomorrow, around 8 degrees Wednesday morning, and daytime highs somewhere in the 17 to 20 degree range. So not quite as warm as the 24 that we had today, but still well above that average high of 14. Pretty good chance that we'll see at least a few scattered showers tomorrow afternoon, but no really heavy, steady rain. I think Saturday might be a little steadier for rainfall. And then if you look at temperatures next week, in that 13 to 17 range for daytime highs. You compare that to average, and average next week is about 12 degrees. So we're still 3 to 5 degrees above average for most of next week and for most of the start of October.
That sounds fantastic. Thanks, Josh, and thanks for sharing your time with us. There's much more to come on the potential looming teacher strike next Monday. The ATA might walk off. You can find more information at ctvnewsedmonton.ca. See ya.